It's the dial tone. You've reached Z. I'm adventurous, sexy, intelligent, and here to blow your mind with the T.
What's up? It's your girl X. I'm unfiltered, unbothered, and ready to spill the tea.
You've reached Aziza. I'm loud, sexy, and edgy, and ready to seduce the tea.
All right, you guys, this is another episode of the Dial Tone. We've got a special guest here with us, Manny, and today we're going to talk about God. God, question mark. God, what a wonderful yet complex question. Much like the question, what came first, the chicken or the egg, or how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? The answer to all three, the world may never know. Today, we're here to talk to you about the preconceived notions that we all have when it comes to God, our perceptions, and the things that have been shaped and molded by our relationship with religion in connection to God. Today, we hope to break down any barriers, any false thoughts, and as I said, preconceived notions, because at the end of the day, there is not only one way to find God, but many, and we hope to help you find them all. Let's get into it, you guys. This is God, question mark. All right, guys. So, how are we doing tonight, everybody?
I'm doing good.
Fabulous, fabulous. So, you guys, we are talking about God tonight, and it is going to get heavy. So let's just jump right in. What are our individual experiences when it comes to church?
So I grew up something called a Seventh-day Adventist. And basically, I went to church on Saturdays. We believe the seventh day is the Sabbath. That's kind of, I think, the most different thing than anything else. It wasn't bad. It was because that's all I really knew. So my mom, her side of the family, they're all Seventh-day Adventists. But then my dad, he has no kind of church affiliation. So I kind of had both of those spectrums. So I think growing up as a Seventh-day Adventist, I was trying to just going with the flow. But then I had my dad, which I think he instilled in me to question everything. And when I started questioning things is when I started realizing that this wasn't for me. But I didn't have a horrible experience with church. I had to realize early that these are just people, flawed people, and I can't hold them at any kind of different pedestal than I would hold anybody else.
Or yourself.
Or myself.
So pretty much what had happened was, I'm just kidding. But I grew up Jehovah's Witness.
Awesome. Let me tell you the good news.
I was knocking on doors, sweating bullets, harassing people in their houses, trying to tell them this, tell them that, being told all kind of all kind of foolishness, not being able to celebrate my birthday, not being able to celebrate anything. Honey, it was a cult, in my opinion. It still is a cult. Okay. Anyway, get out. Yeah. I'm kidding.
Get out while you can.
I grew up in that. I ended up like hating this idea of God because I was like, what? This is God? But
I don't want part of this.
Yeah, I don't want no part of this. I'm like, your God got you down here starving. And everything. Like, I don't like this. So I left that and I really explored all kinds of religions. And I did Christianity, Judaism, even the what is it called? I can't even remember. But I was Muslim for a point in my time. And yeah, I did it all, honey. Because I was like, there's something out there. I just don't know what it is. And each one that I did, I was like, not it, not it, not it, not it, not it. And then I grew into my own understanding and I was like, this is it. But prior to that, I was like, this don't make no sense. This feels like a human being. If I went to Jehovah's Witness with you, I still don't like you. I'm not as mature as X. So
okay, well. So me and God have a very interesting relationship in general. But when it comes to church, I have a very extraordinary relationship with church, especially Christian church. I should put it that way. My mom, when I was growing up, I guess felt like she needed to find her spiritual home somewhere, so she was going to look everywhere. Okay. When I was in kindergarten, I went to a Lutheran school. Then we were going to a Presbyterian church while I was still going to that Lutheran school. and then we went to a Baptist church. And then we went to an Episcopalian church. And then we went to an AME church. So I have seen Christianity in all its little forms and how people pick and choose, nitpick, do what they want, and, you know, beg, barter, steal, essentially, to you know, get their soul where they think it needs to go at some point in time when that happens, you know? And when it came to church, my mom is a minister, and so is her husband. And I kind of, you know, from like 12 up, I kind of lived in that life of being a PK, you know, essentially. And it is harrowing. I've been in churches where they think Monday night prayer should be in the dark and candlelit, and it's very like spooky, creepy. You're like, why are we here at night in the dark candle? I just have a question. I don't know why. It's starting to look culty. This is starting to look culty. Is no one else? It's just me? Okay, that's good. Like, that's how I'm feeling. But no, that's all right. You know, I've seen people hoop and holler and jump up and down. I'm telling you right now, when I think about the goodness of the Lord, I do not want to jump up and down, show my ass, want to fall on my face and say I'm not worthy. But that's moi, okay? And I get that some people need to hoop and holler. I get that some people need to show their ass, you know. But when you're doing cartwheels up and down the aisle, I got questions. I don't know if that's the David dance. I don't know. I don't think it is. I'm gonna be honest with you. I do not think that's the David dance, and I don't think that's what God had in mind when He said it was gonna happen like that. But sure, whatever floats your boat. So me and God, it's been a struggle. I've had my fights. I mean, I got baptized at 8 and got filled with the Holy Spirit at 7. Done some craziness in the church. I've lived my best life. You know, so
what was the process of the Holy Spirit filling?
Ooh, that was in it. See, you understand, I wanted to be filled with the Holy Spirit because I wanted to be like my mom and my big sister, and they were always speaking in tongues all the doggone time. It was getting ridiculous. And I wanted to be a part of, okay? Now, one thing I do believe I have some type of power to speak in tongues, but I don't use it willy-nilly like my mother and my sister and everybody else does, where they think they're just going to start praying over dinner and speaking in tongues, or the olive oil and speaking in tongues. That just don't make no sense. I feel like it is a gift that you use with discretion and discernment, not something you use just to show off how godly you are, because that's not the point. But okay. You know, so it's, you know, for me, when it happened, I was 7, and at the time I did not understand it nor grasp the complexities, or even, I guess you could say, even know what I was doing or signing up for, essentially. So it was me going in and them telling me to hold my mouth open like this, okay, and to just start feeling anointed. And that, you know, the Spirit is being pushed for. And when I tell you, I just stood there. And I remember this to this day because it was such an interesting experience, because I didn't actually speak in tongues. I just started jabbering. And they literally were like, praise Jesus, she's speaking in tongues. And I was like, okay, so this is a joke then, right? This is a joke. It has to be a joke. Like, if you're telling me all I'm doing is and y'all are like, okay, I would say that my faith has been tested, stretched, twisted, bent in all different types of ways, but it has never broken. And I think that is just where it is with me when it comes to my experience with church, is that I had to realize that my faith in God had to be stronger than what I was being told, what I was seeing, and what was happening around me in this church. You know what I'm saying? Because it did not resonate with what I truly felt on the inside.
Well, I grew up Southern Baptist, so like all of that. And my relationship with church didn't, like, my relationship with God didn't start with church, if that makes sense. Like I didn't find God until I left the church. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, I'd sang choir. I was Monday through Wednesday there, Bible study, all that, you know. And it just didn't, of course I knew I was gay and all that, but I just like, church wasn't for me. And the church I went to ended up like stealing from us, and how we found out.
Not the building fund, you guys.
So they were building fund, exactly. It was a whole building fund. Oh, we're building a new church out back. We need funds. Let's get this money. So we get $200,000 together. The money goes missing. What happened? The treasurer of our church had passed away. My grandmother was like, "Oh, I'm good with money, so I'll step in. Let me step in. I'll help be a treasurer, you know, whatever." The moment my grandmother found out, she saw that the money was missing just out of the account. Like, where's this money? Why? Called it out in the middle of church. I will never forget. That was the last day I actually stepped foot in a church. My grandmother stood up and said, "Pastor, I need to know where this money at. Where this money?" And he literally closed his Bible and said, "Have a blessed day," and left. And like, church closed down, never again, like just closed down. So stepping away from that, it was like, what is church? Why is church like this? Who goes to church and wants to be praised this lie and all of this? So like you, I also started looking into other religions and trying to define what I was and what I wanted to pray to and who I wanted to pray to. Because at that time, God wasn't pleasant to me. And now I know it's all, you know, the warrior, you're strong enough for your battles that you're given. So my religion turned into spirituality, and my spirituality turned into a more essence of myself, that when finding my spirituality, it wasn't a religion. It's energy. I'm an empath. I was born an empath and have had experiences with not extraterrestrials, but like ghosts and like things touching me and lifting me up and stuff like that. So
lifting you up?
Like, I was in bed, like, so my grandmother had houses on Civil War grave sites, and so the housekeeper would walk through the house like with a dog and a chain, and like you could see her walk through. But then wherever the bed I was in I slept with a goose feather down comforter. That's what my grandmother had me. Warm, like during the winter, it kept you warm. But like, I was lifted up with this blanket, like in the middle of the night, like shook out of my sleep, and wow. I've had one experience where I like blacked out and don't remember what was going on at the moment, but I was sitting at dinner. This is a whole different incident. It's 3 houses, but all within the same incident. Like they're all next to each other. But I like blacked out at dinner and don't remember. My mom was like, "Don't ever do that again." And I don't know what happened, but I felt like at that moment, my body was like, my spirit had left, but I was somebody else. And for a long time, I was angry. And so I had this demon in me that I couldn't spiritually figure out what was going on. What was it doing with me? And I got rid of it. And I'm like comfortable with my demons. I talk to my demons like that, you know, like it's a thing where if you're transparent with yourself and you're transparent with your spirituality, like everything, what you radiate comes back to you, if that makes sense. Like, I radiate positivity. I wake up and affirm myself every day that I love myself and that what I'm doing is right, and just following my natural like instinct, my natural spirit of what my gut tells me to do, you know? So leaving the church and experiencing life and understanding other religions, it helped me realize like, okay, spirituality isn't a religion. You going to church, you don't have to, like you said, don't have to be in a building. It could be just you meditating by yourself, you know?
Exactly.
What lies do you believe, do you think you've been told when in reference to God?
All of it.
I mean, for real.
He's like, no, everything we know. Everything
For me, I am about the universe. Like, if I'm a science buff, I love science. So when you understand how the universe, like how we got here, mass extinction happens ever so often. Like it happened every 26 million years almost. So like, if that's how long it takes the universe to expand, like that's technically the Big Bang. So like, we originate from, I honestly believe we're like living in like time frames. We live in these boxes of moments that happen that correlate, and that's why we call coincidences, and we have deja vu and like all of that, things that premonitions and things like that. So when going into understanding how the universe works, like for me, that's how we expand to where it collapses on itself. So like it's the Big Bang, and that's how life restarts. We'll never know how it happens, or because we'll probably either be dead by then or already. But all the lies that have been told about God is just, it's a false sense of hope that we were sold as kids. That if you like pray to this, like my family was very sweep it under the rug, go to the altar, cry about it, and don't talk about your issues. So it created these generational cycles that are toxic, and that we tell ourselves, hey, like we wasn't raised to take care of our mental health. We wasn't raised to like be financially stable. Like none of that. Like, but where's God? Where's Jesus? Like, what? How does He fix all of this? How does He fix world hunger? Like, it's us. We all have our own individual energy and our own power that we radiate. And when you radiate negativity, that's what you bring. When you're positive and so for me, it's more of a mindset. Like, if you talk me into this mindset of what God is, like, getting to discover what your own, because technically I consider myself a God. You're a God. We're all gods, because that's what we're created in His image, correct? We are gods. We're created, so if you think about, for me, everybody's gay as well. Jesus was gay. He had 12 men around him at all times. You can't tell me that. Like 12 men at all times. King James was a gay man that wrote the book to distract people from him being gay and being a homosexual. So like, you can't tell me, and Jesus was not a white man. I'm sorry, Christian. He was not no white man. So
right,
whatever he was,
those kind of lies. He was not white. He was not this like. It's just, that irks me.
Also, the lie to say that God is even a he. Where did that part?
Get into it.
And that was probably some man who came up with it to put some dominance and superiority. But I don't think it's a man in the sky. Sometimes I think it might be just like energy entities. I don't know, but it ain't no man up there.
It was just a spirit. It was a
God to you, X is a woman.
No. I mean, sure. If I'm supposed to be created in His image, then I guess so. He's a woman, but I don't know if it's like a physical being.
Well, see, no. See, here's the thing about, I think God is the duality of male and female energy. It is because I think we all have that in us, male and female energy. It is what makes us whole in a sense in our souls. Okay. And it's the reason why I believe, you can be, you can feel like you're a boy in a girl's body, because you're not always born a boy or a girl. Sometimes you're born a boy most of the time. Okay, fine. You reincarnate. You're in a girl's body this time. Your soul recognizes this so harshly that it rejects its outer form because it cannot relate, because it doesn't perceive itself as what it normally knows it to be. Okay, makes perfect sense. However, if you think about that from a God's point of view, they say God didn't make no mistakes. The body is the way the body is. But if God itself is both masculine and feminine energy, then we ourselves are both masculine and feminine energy, which means that there is no soul gender. Souls are gender fluid. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Those type of like that type of like man taking over and being dominant, that's been pushed on us for like eons almost. It's like
for a reason, for control. They do.
Yeah, well, religion was created to control man. Man's way of controlling man was by religion.
Facts.
Yeah.
Constantine created the whole entire Christian story that we know, the Jesus story, all so he could control the split religious views of all the people in that time in Rome, because he was like, yo, I'm tired of all this conflict. I'm tired of everybody being at each other's throats. We're all going to be under the same doctrine. We're all going to be Christians. How about that?
And the crazy thing is that they're telling me that I have to abide by this book written by people like
more than one
me,
person.
people, yes, that
Council
are just
Nicaea.
human with blood and flesh. I have to go by what these people said a very long time ago at that. Things have drastically changed. But yet we're still going back to that book like, well, it says in Matthew 2:42. Like, what? I have an iPhone.
I mean, I think that, okay, I personally feel like when it comes to the Bible, okay, you guys, that it is, I feel like there is some truth to be seen in the Bible, I would say, not from a storybook perspective, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, no one's like, I'm not saying you should like read it and be like, yeah, all of this is fact. No, but I feel like there's information in it that you should know human being wise. I feel like there was a lot of truth sprinkled into it and hidden with a lot of the bullshit that people cling to, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Though a lot of it is like parables. They're stories that you can get something from, learn something from it. Do I need the Bible to do that? I'm going to say no.
No, I don't think the Bible is a waste of 3,000 pages. I do think it's a waste of 3,000 pages. It is. But I think that for religion itself, you know, I guess I would say, I believe religion to be the worst thing that ever happened to God. Point blank simple.
Sure.
God itself, for what it is and what it's supposed to be, source, that spark inside of us, that thing that, you know, hell, the Bible even explains that, you know, we should be able to do everything Jesus did, right? If we would ever have faith in God ourselves.
Oh my God.
If we would have a true faith of God on the inside ourselves, that's what Jesus did.
We
want to get there. That's what Jesus did. He had true faith. Because, I mean, I want you to know, my boy was sitting there going, I don't know if we can do this, homie. I don't know if we can do this. And God was like, either you trust me or you don't.
Yeah. I told my friend, he's Christian. And this is when my first time like coming into this, my spirituality. And I was questioning everything. And I said to him, what if? I was like, what if Jesus, right, wasn't showing you that he's God? What if Jesus was showing you what you can do? I was like, what if his whole thing was showing us that we're like all gods and goddesses? And he was like, no. Like pretty much like that. Like, but because it was fear. So he was just like, you know, that's some satanic stuff. I'm like, satanic?
No, I mean, but think about it. That's what they tried. They told Jesus he had to be God. Jesus was like, I'm not God. He kept being like, I'm not God.
He kept saying, I'm not God.
Because he said he wouldn't say he was God. Like, like, you know? And it's like, even though that was perceived, everybody has now turned around and turned Jesus into God. It says you can't have no false gods. You turned the whole sacrifice into a false God. What is God supposed to do with us? I got questions. Like, if this is the real deal, what do you think God is sitting there thinking to himself when you hear people worshiping Jesus, the crucifix, the cross, like God just sitting there going, this is why I shouldn't have given y'all free will.
For me, I always felt like the Bible, I read it, and I can say that there are a lot of confusing things. There were things that it was like, I think there was one scripture which I remember to this day, because I asked a couple pastors about it and they couldn't answer me. I said, in the Bible, Jesus said that there's God and then there's God's God. And like, they were like, there's only one God. I said, okay, I know that. But what I'm saying is, like, what it says right here.
You read right here.
There's God and there's God's God.
Was this a mistype? Is that what that is? Just
no,
tell me this is a misprint.
I mean, no, ancient God, Greek goddesses and gods, like he had a God. We have a God. And I think what they mean by that is to leave the legacy of what God embodies and what, like, pushing that onto you, like embodying that. I guess that's why people get so crazy and pushing their children into it. Embody your kids into that. Let's, embrace that and push your kids into it and embody what you think God is, like.
Right.
Well, I feel like we as humans need a moral compass, and we use religion to be that, if that makes sense. I mean, it's even in it's in our laws. We use
that's what the
Ten Commandments in our laws. That's how
human decency.
Yeah. Humility is like the golden rule is treat others the way you want to be treated, because that's what Jesus said, right? You know, and you know, it's all these things, and it's like it's ingrained in us, and it's an indoctrination. And you know, be your religion is Christian, Judaism, or Muslim. You know, even the fact that they all fight over the same God and want to call it a different name. It's all the same exact God. Abraham is all y'all's grandpa, and y'all got some real problems y'all need to work out. That's all I'm saying. If y'all read the story like I read the story, I believe Ishmael was his bastard son. He ran off and made the Islamic nation. I'm just throwing it out there that that's how that rolls. And y'all are part of Abraham's family. That's all that means. The Judean God is y'all's God too. Y'all just call him Allah. I just feel like y'all just don't. No one's getting together. Like all the same religion.
I feel as though religion is needed, though. Just like you said, it's some people's moral compass. I feel like without it, this world would be even more shittier, because sometimes you cannot find the solace just within you, which is where it is all the time. People need another entity to go to because the world is so damn hard. So I see how religion can be helpful for many people. It's like, I'm going to lay my burdens here on you because I can't carry all this burden on just me. A lot of people can't. It would break them. So I think having somewhere else to go, someone else to talk to helps some people.
Yeah, it's releasing that energy. Once you talk about something and cry about it, that you feel that emotion. And some people don't let their body go through that emotion. They cut it off, they compartmentalize and put it away and go about their business, you know? Yeah. So it is helpful, but therapy is the same way. Therapy would be go to therapy, write a journal, save you some money. Like, you don't have to go to church. Because I used to question that all the time, like everything about Jesus, like, how is he this, and that? So now that we've said that so who do we really believe Jesus to be? Do we believe him to be God, you guys? Simple answer. Or do we believe him to be a man, so and connect with God, that he was able to manifest powers that we should all be able to have?
I believe that Jesus was a witch.
Okay.
Was that
a wizard?
And the 12 disciples was his coven. I'm with it. I feel it.
I have no idea. It's very hard to know what to believe, because he was born out of like his parents didn't even have to have sex to have him. So that kind of blows my mind. A lot of things that Christians say today is like witchcraft or evil. Like, if you look in the Bible, there was some freaky shit happening. Like, what in the world? If Jesus was
bushes
here
catching on fire and not burning, I'm just
right. If Jesus was here in the world today, everybody would be like, "This is the devil." You know what I'm saying? So like,
well, they slick did it then too. They called him the devil then too. They said he was doing witchcraft then. It had to be witchcraft. That he wasn't, you know. I feel like no matter what, we as humanity, we demonize anything that we cannot first explain and understand. Yes. And so we'll demonize it the first chance we get, because that's the only way we can actually understand something, is to demonize it. It's why, you know, the Salem witch trials happened. It's why the, you know, Spanish Inquisition happened. It's why, you know, they did all these things because of our fear. And fear mongering is a big thing when it comes to religion. If they can keep you so fearful of being judged by God, or being hated by God, or fearing what God's going to do to you, you know, or the fear of going to hell, then you can be manipulated. You can be, you can be changed. You can be swayed, and things can happen. You know, I mean, Donnie McClurkin cracks me up. You were gay, and you got saved, and now you're not gay.
Right.
I have real questions, but
I got all the questions. All the questions. Like, what do you mean? I am confused. So are you just back in the closet? Is that what happened? You tell me.
No, he's in a dry cleaner, because he's in it. Once a week he's back in that
thing. Yeah. I think religion can just sometimes be used to block off your good sense.
Yeah.
It's like some people will be like, "Oh, I believe like those crystals, they they are of the devil, or you know how
Yeah.
people use crystals for
The gates
healing,
to heaven are paved with those get with those same crystals. It says so
Or-
in Revelations.
or oh, they don't work, or y'all, whatever the case may be. But in the same breath, we go to church and eat bread that we say is the body of Christ, and drink
The
cranberry juice that we're saying is the blood of Christ, and you
I
don't
think so.
see the weird shit that's happening.
The
See, that's why
witchcraft
when
ritual.
I go to church,
The essential ritual you're going through. The
we are
ritual you do
doing
every
a
communion
whole
Sunday.
ritual. So I question things like that, and I think in the
And then you
church
got prophets.
you're taught not to question, and I have a problem with that because I think I don't just go along like a sheep. Not to say you're sheep people that
No, there's nothing.
Y'all
You
definitely
should know when
sheep.
You're a
always
follower,
question
you're a
everything.
follower. It's just that.
Thanks for listening to part 1. Part 2 coming soon.